evening, ladies and gentlemen, tape and pipe people. Today, in the second to last episode, we are going to make very, very, very sexy Doomguy legs and thighs and shoes. So, let's get going. If you haven't seen the previous parts before this, I highly recommend you doing this, because I'm basically going to do the same thing over and over again. So I'm just gonna film that, but I'm not gonna tell you exactly how I do it, because it's the same thing. You have seen it. I promise you. You will have take notes by this point. However, these things, we're gonna take a little strap there and put it. You need the duct tape, because otherwise it's gonna rip up. It will absolutely hold, because this is not gonna be very heavy. But be sure that it have some room for flexing, so this doesn't break off when you sit down. So you see, I will test this very thoroughly and see where my knees are. And so I had to cut off a little bit on the back side there, so I can sit properly, because sitting is very nice to do. So that's why also this little leg part here is going to be a little modified. But you see, I'm just drawing this thing out here from the screen, which I couldn't have blown up this to make this, so I have to guess. But it looks okay, I guess. So anyway, and if still have to remind you, this is not a super accurate build of this, but whatever. I will touch upon that later. However, so you see, I'm just going to draw this out on this camping madrassing foam here and just cut it out. And you see, now we have two mirrored things here. And here you see you have to like 2 centimeters, but you see it actually it's holding itself in going into each other on the left leg there. But in video games you don't have a problem with that, because you know the polygons go into each other, so they don't have to worry about that in video games. But whatever. So you see, I have a thigh there, and now you see they have a very nice underlaying there things there. And now we're going to cut this little part out there. But there is nothing usual about that. But also, I'm very happy to actually have starting to finish this thing right at the moment I'm editing this. This stuff is lying next to me, being dried up, the first layer of paint. So you see, I'm taking and pull that out with a Phillips head screwdriver, or is it flathead? Sorry, it was a flathead. Anyway, so I'm just doing some little cutting here to make this little. This actually have like several layers of it, but I couldn't really watch the pictures where the layer starts and ends. So I just let's make it in one solid piece instead, with some 3-dimensional things coming up, like the little detail high up there. And also we are going to do this. This didn't really work, so I had to cut it afterwards and actually heat it up so they will separate, because that's a very good thing to make details on these things. Also with scratches and dents and stuff like that, which is also a little thing we will do later when we are going to paint. So you see, everything transforms with a heat gun. It's amazing. And there we go, finished up there. So here is also a little bit, I punched it out, and then I take it. This is some kind of plumbing connector part thingy that looks interesting. You can also use this thing that's used for corsets to put in that little hole there. I do not know the English word for it. Anyway, so you see, this is going to be the thigh part, which is going to be a little bit special due to I want to be able to sit down properly. But we're going to draw this out with a little bit of a modification, due to it's not going to go on the back side of this. It's going to be partially on the back side of the thigh, but not be on the, because it will feel like you are sitting on something very uncomfortable, which I can actually tell about, because I had to go to Norway for a convention, and I took the bus ride, which took 8 hours from where I'm living, and due to the Halo costume was so big, I had to sit with the Halo pants on in the bus for 8 hours, and my ass would like to have a vacation after that, because that was incredibly uncomfortable after 8 hours. Even though it's made out of foam, it still have these edges that still feel very unpleasant. So, you see, I'm gonna take this plastic pipe here and split that in two by making that. So we have cut that apart. Now we're going to put it on the leg there. And you see, it's a little bit long, but I will fix that later. But now we're just going to take that on, glue this thing on here. It's not only gonna glue it because it will probably fall off, because PVC pipes have a, well, all glues doesn't really work on plastic. So if you have this yellow colored glue that is said that is made for plastic, that will work great. Now we're gonna take this PVC pipe here. It's a I think it's a 45-degree angle or something, maybe 30, whatever. Anyway, we are going to split that in two for making the thigh part, and also we are going to make a part of the shoe. But you see, I will go back to that later just to see that just the base will kind of work. So let's get over with other things that will make it easier to walk if things actually don't bump into each other, like the knees and the thighs. So I'm making this detail part here, which is above it, and now I'm making all the rest of the details that is on this leg here, and just folding it and you know, mirroring and so on. It's gonna be a lot of that with it, if you haven't noticed by now. And you see, we are going to put I put 3 screws here because I think that was very much enough. You see, we're gonna pull. This looks easier than it was because I had to punch this thing from the backside and try to find a hole, and it was really difficult. And I can do a dirty joke here, which I will not do because I will not have time for that. Anyway, so now you see, here we have the problem with that it's going into it, so we have to cut it down to size. So do very much walking tests with these things. And now you heat this thing up to see that the little cuts will expand, and also we are going to shape that thing to be put on top there. You see, it's a bit of an angle out, so it actually can fit inside there. And now we are going to make holes with the hole thingy. And can someone please tell me what that tool is named in English? I would be very happy. The guy who looks like Deadpool on his picture, which I don't remember the name, told me that the part I was looking for, which is to measuring tool, was called a collar. I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, so now you see we are going to take the pipe part there, and we are going to put green foam on it, and actually going to place it on the foot, which was a bit off camera, but you can absolutely see what I mean. I will also leave a link to a very good website I used for making this costume, which was basically pictures of the Doomguy action figure, which has been really helpful, because there is not many pictures of how the legs look on the backside, which you will also see that they look so cool. So now you see I've took my Halo shoes here, if you saw it in the previous there, because I already have them and they look quite similar, and also they already have the armor. And if you haven't seen how I put this armor on, I have a special video for that, which is called Clever Way to Put Armor on Your Shoes. So there we go, and I also made some little detailed holes there, and now we have put the thigh back there with bolts like we did on the front there. And now we are going to, you know, make this little same pattern thing here then, and then just stretch this over with this green foam, so it will look very lovely like that. And also gonna do the part that is on the back side of the foot, which looks quite cool, but I forgot to film that. But at this point, you know, I will gonna cut it out and glue it on anyway. So now when we have tested that I can walk in this, we will do the final fitting with all the parts that we have made. And you see, the gloves is a little bit of a bitch to put on, but they do get on my hands. I just hope I don't have to take them off frequently. So now you see the whole thing is assembled, and you can look yourself in the mirror and fix the shoulder there, because it doesn't, and look like a badass in high speed. And there I'm standing, saying, "Are you talking to me?" And now we're going to see here. So, a final thought here, that this is very complicated to make these legs, and I'm very, very happy that I actually made it. But if you're gonna follow this along, and if you want to make this really, really properly, like use this as a base, and then you go way into detail with things, because I have to stop now because I do not have time for these things anymore. I have other projects coming up. So next time, painting.